Things in the fantasy hockey game might be winding down, but the NHL news is going up a notch. On the latest edition of the Locked On Fantasy Hockey Podcast, we got our finger on the pulse with all the trending news from the world of hockey, the red-hot Montreal Canadiens, the floundering Detroit Red Wings, and a whole bunch of injury updates that you need to know. Let's get this paper.
You're Locked On Fantasy Hockey, your daily podcast on fantasy hockey.
Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back inside the lab, everybody, to your daily 30-minute source for hockey news, betting breakdowns, and fantasy takes. It's the Locked On Fantasy Hockey Podcast with Steele and Flip. Shout out, salute, much love, and thank you so much, everydayers, for making us your first listen every single day we see you. We appreciate you, and we try to return the favor at the end of every single episode with a couple of winning bets, looking to stay red hot with Thursday's 10-game betting board. We'll get to that at the end of the show, as always. A whole bunch of major injury updates. Minnesota Wild, Edmonton Oilers, Steel, and of course the Colorado Avalanche with Gabriel Landeskog, a name perhaps we didn't think we'd hear this season, but we are the Red Wings. What's going on? And let's start with it. The Montreal Canadiens at the forefront of the newsreel for a lot of reasons, being red hot. One of them, Ivan Demidov, 5th overall draft pick, Steel, a kid with upside for days with the offensive flair. What's your take on the Habs, Demidov, and what's going on in La Belle Province?
Such an important win over the Detroit Red Wings on the weekend. 4-1 win for the Montreal Canadiens on a 6-game win streak right now. And it pretty much solidified their chances at going into the postseason and obliterated any hope the Detroit Red Wings had at making the postseason for the first time in 9 years. So we're going to get to them later in the episode, but this is very important and very exciting for all Montreal Canadiens fans, even for fantasy hockey fans out there, just to get a quick glimpse of Ivan Demidov making his debut with the Montreal Canadiens. It is projected as of right now that he will get his debut on Monday against the Chicago Blackhawks at the Bell Center. So that barn is going to be absolutely buzzing. All fantasy hockey fans and hockey fans across the world are going to be tuning in for this just to get a glimpse at what he can provide. And he's such a skilled player. We know what he is, like you said, top 5 draft pick for the Montreal Canadiens. Love the pace he plays at, strong on the puck. He can drive hard when he finds opening. He's got silky smooth hands, and I'm really excited to see where and who he's going to be playing with. I hope he's on the top line with Suzuki and Cole Caulfield. I know Slavkovsky's been there all season. He's been very good. So I'm excited to see where he plays, but I like the fact, again, that we've kind of seen this a lot more recently with these Russian players, especially guys who are under contract in the KHL. You know, just for recent memory, Kirill Kaprizov, Matvei Michkov, who had some time in the KHL, play at a professional level, and then come over, and they've already had somewhat of a development going on at the early stages of their career. So I'm excited for Demidov. He's going to be, for sure, for keeper leagues next year, a top-round draft pick.
Thank you for mentioning the keeper league aspect. As much as the fantasy side of things is going to slowly start to reduce importance over the next couple of weeks as we head into the offseason, every single episode, Steele and I will highlight all of the top news from around the league and always try and draw you guys back in with a couple of fantasy angles to get you ready for next season. Demidov. This is a player that in a keeper dynasty league, if you do have a minor slot, or perhaps your team is in complete flux and you might have a couple of keepers that you're unsure of what to do of, let's have a little shot on Ivan Demidov for the offensive upside. That's the fantasy take for me here, Steele. Look, this season in 65 games for SKA Moscow, 19 goals, 30 assists, and only 13 minutes of ice time per night. What does he do with the real shot is intriguing. However, in terms of what this means for Montreal on the ice, I understand it's exciting. I understand that they have won 6 straight games at the most opportune time. Sam Montembeault stopped 24 shots from the Detroit Red Wings in the first period the other night. If that is the kind of goaltending he's going to put up in the postseason, We know what can happen when the season flips the calendar. So let me just leave it at this, though, because looking at this Montreal lineup, yes, it's exciting for Demidov. Do they need to improve on, I believe they're the 20th ranked power play and they could use an offensive boost? 100% it makes sense. However, Cole Caulfield, Slavkovsky, Patrick Laine, Alex Newhook, say it with me, defensive liabilities. And you throw in a kid who played in the K with no experience right into the meat grinder at postseason time. It's no guarantee that this immediately works and is a successful situation for the Montreal Canadiens. So I just wanted to throw a bit of a damp blanket on it because, yeah, it's exciting still. But I will take Ivan Demidov if you are in a situation where you're going up against the Habs and all of these guys, are a little bit soft around the puck. That could be a situation that could be exploited, especially if you're going up against a John Cooper or even our boy Maurice. So wanted to throw that angle out there. Still a big win over the Red Wings, and they're red hot at the best time of season.
And that's totally valid to make because the one pain point that has been highlighted about Demidov's game is in the defensive zone and back checking. So you have to highlight that. And especially, again, if you're throwing a guy in the last 5 games of the season, hasn't played all year with the Montreal Canadiens, you're throwing a little bit of a wrench in the chemistry with these guys. Again, skilled players can just pick up on that right away. So I'm excited. I'm going to for sure be tuning in to the game on Monday against the Chicago Blackhawks. Let's get to the Detroit Red Wings because I've got a lot to say about this. And
I'm excited.
Again, when we do our preseason predictions, we've liked the Detroit Red Wings, and we've always thought, at least the last couple of years, that they were a bubble team, but just can't get over that edge. And like I said, their hopes of making the playoffs were absolutely crushed in that 4-1 loss against the Canadiens. They're going to miss the postseason for the 9th consecutive year. And this is the question that I want to ask you, and what I want to talk about is, when are we started going to questioning Steve Yzerman and his Yzer plan? Because this is the 6th season as the general manager of the Detroit Red Wings. Like I said, they've missed 9 years in a row now, or going to soon be missing 9 years. Yep. And in the 6 years, all to me, Yzerman has managed to do is waste the best years of Dylan Larkin's career. He's given insane contracts out to complete liabilities like JT Compher and Andrew Kopp and Justin Hall on the back end. And as much as I like Cam Talbot, and he's been good this year, again, all Yzerman has done is provide a Band-Aid as the solution for their goalie problems, which has been a major problem for the 9 years they've missed the postseason. You actually have to go back over a decade to 2010 with Peter Mrazek, where the Red Wings actually last drafted a goaltender that became somewhat of a legitimate starter for them. And now he's back with them after a trade with Chicago. Yeah. So for me, funny enough, it's weird. They somehow have the 4th best power play unit in the league this year. But it doesn't matter because they have the worst penalty kill unit at 69.9%. So there's just so many things that have gone wrong over the 6-year span with Steve Yzerman as the general manager. My last point before I throw it back over to you, I went down the rabbit hole a little bit with this Detroit team.
I love that.
When you look at the record over the last 4 years in the month of March, you know how people say that you can't win a tournament, you can't win on day one, but you can for sure lose it. That's not the case with the Detroit Red Wings because they wait until the month of March. They're 17, 34, and 5 the last 4 years in the month of March. They continuously lose it right down the home stretch, coming down for the remainder of the regular season. So again, this is a team that I for sure thought was going to be a wild card team. They wasted Dylan Larkin's year. Lucas Raymond had another career year of 70-plus points, back-to-back years. He's done that now. And Mo Seider as well. So I'm not sure where the Red Wings go from here to fix this problem. And I think Steve Yzerman seriously has to be questioned if he's going to be the guy continuing at the helm.
It is a bit of a shame as well, Steele, because you have a really good season kind of squandered from Lucas Raymond. A very, very good season also at points from Marco Kasper. Obviously, those are just 2 young players, but there was signs there along with some of the veterans we expected to hold it down this season. To me, there is no one problem here. We went into the season last year, I think they had Husso, Jack Campbell, Lyon, and also
James Reimer, Calvin
Cam
Pickard.
Talbot. It's been a rotating mess in the crease. So to me, there is no one solution here, which makes me think maybe there is a shakeup in store. It really is a shame, though, also because this is a great franchise. I've been down there to the new barn. Little Caesars Arena is a great spot to watch a game. And this team has been somewhat close in terms of seeing the pieces that you've mentioned. DeBrincat and Larkin, great top-line duo, tons of fantasy value there. To me, this team underachieves at 5-on-5. The penalty kill is a mess. They've had a number of different coaching changes over the last handful of seasons. Disappointment all around. And next season, I don't see it getting any better. So to bring this back into the fantasy lens, be wary of who you're touching on this team. Not named Dylan Larkin, DeBrincat, and Raymond. Maybe on the back end, Mo Sider for that peripheral category coverage. I don't see where they go from here, Steele. They are not a playoff team. That is for sure. The Habs are. We'll be talking a lot about some teams getting a boost with some returning stars after the break, the Wild, the Avs, and of course, the Edmonton Oilers. Big-time bets coming up after that. You know who our friends are today at Bear Mattress.
Do you have trouble sleeping? If so, you're not alone. That used to be me, lacking rest, tossing and turning. I was late for meetings. I never felt like myself. That's until I found Bear Mattress. Bear Mattress and their sleep recovery technology helped me fall asleep faster, as well as enjoy deeper sleeps. I felt like myself again, and you can too. Bear Mattress knows that every sleeper is different. That's why they have their sleep quiz on their website that finds you your perfect match. As a side sleeper, I matched with the Elite Hybrid mattress, and I've been telling everyone in my life they have to try Bear Mattress risk-free. You can sleep on your Bear Mattress up to 120 nights, and if you're not getting the best sleep of your life, you can get it refunded. They'll pick it up with absolutely no hassle. So go to bearmattress.com and use my promo code LOCKEDONNHL at checkout to get 40% off site-wide. This offer is not available anywhere else. You have to use my promo code on the very last page of checkout to get this discount. That's bearmattress.com. Use my promo code LOCKEDONNHL for 40% off site-wide. Bearmattress.com, promo code LOCKEDONNHL.
And thank you so much for making the Locked On Fantasy Hockey Podcast your first listen every single day. Continue to smash that subscribe button, the follow button. Leave a 5-star review for your boys, Flip Livingstone and Steele Rodin.
Appreciate that.
A lot of big news with superstars returning to the lineup this week with the last 4 games in the regular season. Let's start off with Gabriel Landeskog and the Colorado Avalanche.
Yeah.
Gabriel Landeskog has been loaned to the Colorado Eagles for a conditioning stint. This is big news. We haven't seen him play a game since this Stanley Cup championship run in 2022, I believe. So it's been 2-3 years since we last saw him. And if he can somehow make it back into the lineup just to get in time for the first round of the playoffs, especially with how crazy it's been in the Central Division, going up potentially against the Dallas Stars and the return of Mikko Rantanen, that's very exciting just to think about.
It is. This is definitely very intriguing. Fantasy angle here for me is if he actually plays really well this postseason, Steele, it's still such an injury risk that he falls into the prototypical scenario. And I know I'm getting ahead of ourselves, but this is what we're going to have to do. We're going to start looking ahead to next season all summer long. And how often have we said it? Don't let really good or really bad playoff performances impact your ability to draft a player too early or too late. So if you see Landeskog come back, number one, I don't know if you knew this, but all of this injury woes started after he took a cut from Cale Makar's skate above the knee. I actually didn't know that's what cascaded all of this. However, this could be a huge emotional kind of swing for a Colorado Avalanche team that, yes, they've looked pretty good. Yes, we've liked all the moves. The roster has been in serious flux. Talk about all the new faces in Detroit. Tons of new faces in this Colorado lineup, and maybe what they really need is a calming presence, a familiar face, and one that I had this up, Steele. Statistically, Gabriel Landeskog has done nothing but perform in 82 career regular season or postseason games, including that Stanley Cup push a couple of years ago. He is almost a point per game player. 80 points in 82 games and 6 career game-winning goals. So it could be a huge morale boost. It could be a huge point production boost. But let's be clear, there's been no one in NHL history who has ever recovered from the surgery that he has had, and he hasn't played in 3 years. So those are some caveats that need to be mentioned here. But if he comes back, this is huge for the Colorado Avalanche, clearly.
Absolutely. And again, like you're able to go watch most of it from his docu-series, A Clean Sheet. I believe it was released on March 9th. You know, again, everything that he had to go through rehabilitation over the last 2-3 years, multiple surgeries on his knee. And yeah, again, I'm excited just thinking about it, if he can get back in the lineup.
Could be huge for them.
It could be very big for them. And to think about going into next year, again, you have to put him on that list of high risk, high reward type of player, especially with all the injuries over the last 3-4 seasons for himself. Big news, though, as well for the Edmonton Oilers. Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl should be back in the lineup at the end of the week or at the end of the weekend. Obviously, want to get them back back on the ice and playing for the Oilers. Still a lot on the line for them as they continue to fight in the Pacific Division, 4 points back of the LA Kings. I don't know about you, but I am seriously concerned about this team, even with Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid in the lineup. I've completely lost all confidence I had in Stuart Skinner's ability this season. The depth guys they brought in have not been good defensively. I really think Evan Bouchard is at an all-time low in his own zone. He has been in complete disarray. I don't know what's going on between the ears right now, but he just doesn't seem to care and continuously lets people go by him without any effort. So with all the things I've seen, especially without McDavid and Draisaitl in the lineup, I have some serious concerns if they go up against the LA Kings and they have home ice advantage.
When you look at how the Edmonton Oilers have really been able to impact the play in games and shift momentum, it's obviously been with their offense. I don't know this season, though, Steele, given what we've seen from the offense. Look, they sit 10th in overall scoring, okay? That's pretty good. Top third of the league, pretty solid. But when you look at also they're only 9th on the power play, and I know most people are going to say, Flip, that is also in the top third. They have to be top 1 or 2 or 3, in my opinion, clicking at that kind of proficiency to overcome the woes of the rest of this team, Steele. And let's be honest, some of them aren't all their fault. Right now, they're dealing with injuries to Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. Trent Frederick is going to miss the latest game. Matthias Ekholm is also out. John Klingberg is out. Stuart Skinner is going to miss another game. All of those things headed into the postseason. You're also not playing the greatest of hockey. I don't think I need an abacus or any other magic wand here to tell you 5-4-1 with all those other angles headed into the postseason could be a serious issue. And also, you might have to go up, and we know that they've had success against the LA Kings. Darcy Kemper is red hot. The Kings are feeling it and playing great hockey. This is a concern. We have to mention it, though, because, hey, if you're one of those year-to-year leagues that is a point situation and you're going all the way through to the end of next week on Thursday, there's still hockey next week. If these guys return, that could be a huge boost for not only those players, but those guys that you mentioned around them. Secondary pieces, you're looking for an offensive boost, and Victor Arvidsson's playing on Leon's wing again. Pay attention to these situations. Landeskog, Edmonton, or the next team we're going to talk about.
Yeah, Minnesota Wild also getting their stars back. Kirill Kaprizov and Joel Eriksson-Ek returned to the lineup last night against the San Jose Sharks. This is major news for them. And as of right now, if the playoffs did start today, again, there's so many moving pieces with the last 4 or 5 games of the regular season. But as of right now, the Minnesota Wild would play the Winnipeg Jets. And I think the return of Kaprizov and Eriksson-Ek completely changes that dynamic of that matchup in the first round. Kaprizov was on pace for 115 points this year before he went down.
Hart Trophy favorite
at the time. He had 52 points in 37 games. So this guy is such an important piece. Obviously, he's the superstar for Minnesota. They need him back in the lineup. And without him, it's really drastically impacted the value of guys like Marco Rossi, Brock Faber, Matt Boldy, Zuccarello as well. They're not producing as much because they're not being able to create as much without him in the lineup. So getting him back in, especially in the last 5 games, just get his feet under him, get back into the action, and get ready for the first round.
Let's talk about it a little bit more right after the break.
Yeah.
I do have one take I want to mention with this Wild team. We'll continue to break down all of the NHL news that you need every single week, Monday through Friday, Saturday specials as well. Let's get to big time bets after the break, Steele. Get after it.
Loving the picks for Thursday night. I'm very intrigued to see what you got cooking up in the office. This episode is also brought to you by Wonderful Pistachios. Looking for a snack that's both delicious and nutritious? Crack into a good source of protein with Wonderful Pistachios. Wonderful Pistachios is one of the highest protein nuts. Each 1 ounce serving has 6 grams of protein, giving you over 10% of your daily value. Plus, they're packed with fiber and better for you unsaturated fats to help keep you feeling fuller longer. Personally, we love the no-shell variety. It's the perfect grab-and-go snack for busy days, whether I'm snacking at my desk, on a road trip, or just need a quick protein boost. They're always my go-to. And if you love cracking open every shell for that satisfying crunch, the in-shell options are a classic favorite. Whether you're running between meetings or dropping off the kids, Wonderful Pistachios are the snack that works as hard as you do. Get snacking, get cracking with the snack that packs a protein punch. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more. And thank you so much for making the Locked On Fantasy Hockey Pod your first listen Monday through Friday. Continuing at 7 a.m., hit the subscribe button, the follow button, leave a 5-star review. We're going to get to big time bets for Thursday. I've got 4 picks tonight, Flip. Yes. An honorable mention. I'm loving the games here on Thursday, but let's make the final points on the Wild and the return of Kaprizov and Eriksson Ek.
Number one, you mentioned what this team has to do with Kaprizov and Joel Eriksson Ek out of the lineup, and it was tread water. And I believe they went, I thought I saw earlier when I was reading about this, I think they went 22-18, very around the tread water mark.
Yeah.
And this is obviously huge. And the second point I wanted to make, and it kind of goes to the point you were making about the dynamic of what that first round matchup will be, regardless of who they play.
Yeah.
This is a game changer. Mainly the one main weakness that we could point in this club or poke a hole in this club is that lack of scoring depth. They have the elite punch of a great top line, Zook, Rossi, Kaprizov, if that's what it's going to be. But now you can spread things out a little bit. Joel Eriksson back with Boldy. That provides a nice little secondary combo. Can Marcus Johansson turn back the clock? And then that shuffles it down to the third line as well. So all of a sudden, they have a lot more to work with in Minnesota. Those are huge angles. And get yourself a piece of the Wild over the next couple of days in the fantasy realm. Kaprizov back, boom, Marco Rossi, auto ad. If you can get a piece, if he's out there, I also like what this means for Joel Eriksson Ek, a refresh perhaps, Steele, for a player that was disappointing. Yeah. Over to you, though, for bets. We will continue to talk about these postseason pushes all week long.
Big time bets, cooking up a big day Thursday. I got 4 picks. Number 1, Pastrnak, 2+ points against the Chicago Blackhawks. He's been incredible down the stretch. He has 11 points in his last 3 games. Last 3 games, 11 points. He's on a 7-game point streak with 16 points in that span. He's been absolutely incredible. I believe he actually hit 100+ points again.
I love
a couple
that
games ago. Pastrnak, 2+ points. It's absolutely locked in against Chicago. Number 2, Sabres Blue Jackets over 6.5. I don't have the actual stat in front of me, but I believe if I counted correctly at the time, it was 7 or 8 of the last 10 have gone over the number. And a lot of the time it's been like 7-6, 9-8 is what I was seeing. So I'm loving the over 6.5. If you're comfortable enough with it as well, I'm taking the Sabres on the money line against the Blue Jackets. They're 5-4-1, 5-4-1 in their last 10 against the Blue Jackets, but apparently the Sabres decided to play some of their best hockey when it mattered. It didn't matter at all. They're on a 5-game win streak, and they're 8-2-0 in their last 10 games right now. So I'm comfortable taking them on the money line. Tage Thompson is popping off with the goal scoring. He's been incredible too. Last pick of the night. Every single time the Kings are at home, I'm going to take them on the puck line. Kings on the puck line against these Anaheim Ducks. There's a reason they had the best home record. I know they lost a tough loss against Seattle the other day. It didn't pan out for me then. It's going to pan out here on Thursday. Those are my 4 picks. Lock of the night, Pastrnak, 2+ points.
Absolutely love the pick. I most indeed like. I don't think most indeed. I don't know. I got something to say about that Kings angle,
Indeed
though.
is what you need.
I appreciate that. It's what I'm going with on the Kings as well, Steele, but I'm taking a player prop. I'm taking Kevin Fiala anytime point as my lock of the night, actually. I'm getting ahead of myself, but why not? Bit of a disappointing year in terms of what you maybe expected from Kevin Fiala. 52 points in 76 games when I definitely see this player in the 65 to 70 point potential realm. So that's a bit disappointing, but he's played better over the last few weeks. And in his career against the Anaheim Ducks, this is what you really want to hear. How about in 28 regular season games, 26 points? That's my lock of the night. I'm going to throw it with 2 total picks as well. Winnipeg at Dallas, auto under. I'm going to take it to 6.5. This is a massive tilt. And how about this? 8 of the last 9 matchups between these two, under the number. Hit me with a playoff-like atmosphere, the Uncle Flip special. Nashville at Utah, for some reason, is at 5.5 right now. And I know when I look into the Nashville side of things, I believe like 13 of their last 17 games have gone under the number. But when you look head-to-head between these two clubs, 25 goals scored combined over their previous 3 meetings, 2 of those going over the number. 5.5, I would have taken it at 6.5. So hit me with the over 5.5 between these two clubs.
Loving those picks. I'm liking the Kevin Fiala angle as well against these Ducks. Definitely going to be smashing all of those picks into a parlay. I'm feeling very confident going into Thursday.
Giddy up.
Thank you so much for making the Locked On Fantasy Hockey Pod your first listen. For your second listen, please go check out the Locked On NHL podcast, where the season never ends, providing national expertise with a local perspective. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. From your boys here, Flip Livingstone and Steel Road, and we wish you good luck in the championship round if you're in it. Those bets tonight, good luck as well, and we shall see you back here again tomorrow.
Peace.